Hey everybody, welcome back to the Waterboys Rugby podcast. We're on Skype today. It's been a while. Mark's beard is a little bit longer, so it's been a while since our last chat, but it's awesome to be back as usual. Um, there's been quite a bit going on in the rugby world. Rainbow Cup, it's been changed. We're now having Curry Cup version 4, and so we're going to chat about that. We're also going to chat about the Varsity Cup, Varsity Shield. There's been a lot of upsets in the Varsity Cup this year. The teams that are performing is obviously a big surprise. But Mark, let's first chat about the Rainbow Cup. What was your reaction when you heard that we're going to be having another domestic competition? We're not going to be going abroad anymore this year.
I'm just looking at your facial expressions, and I think that tells it all. It's pretty disappointing, and I'm not quite sure I understand why this has happened, because they knew when they organised the Rainbow Cup that there would be COVID in England and in the UK, and it seems like no one really knows what's going on. No one wants to make decisions, so I feel a bit sorry for our unions. I think it's going to cost us financially a bit, and I feel sorry for our fans because now we have to watch again the local competition. But to be fair, our standard of rugby seems to be increasing. It's definitely from when we started doing these podcasts, the standard has been much better the past couple of months. The players have been gelling together nicely, some youngsters coming through. So it's disappointing because I mean it would have been nice to see the Stormers against Leinster or Munster against the Bulls, but it is what it is, and we have to move forward.
I think maybe the coaches started listening to our podcast and they thought
Yeah.
they want us to be more positive. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're actually very right with what you said about how they knew COVID was going to be
Yeah.
around. So why did they plan it if they were just going to cancel it? This must be some conspiracy, bro. Maybe Warren
I think so.
Gatland got it cancelled somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was also really disappointed. So it would have been nice if they tried to innovate and do something different. Like there were quite a few people mentioning that maybe they should do where this like a Springbok team plays against the different unions. There were obviously we wouldn't be able to use our foreign-based players for that, but some people were suggesting that. Other people were suggesting we maybe do a like a North versus South game, and just mix it up. Or there was even a suggestion of doing a Curry Cup, but you play for the team you were born, the team where you come from. So if you were born in Western Cape, you play for Stormers, or if you were born in Free State, you play for Cheetahs. So it would have been nice to see something different, just to make it more interesting. But at the same time, I do know that the South African Rainbow Cup, they've got TV deals in the UK, so those games are getting showed in the UK. So obviously, from a financial point of view, it makes sense to do this.
Yeah, and you can't really play for, like what you said about playing for the province where you're born in. I mean, that doesn't work financially either, because if you've got, let's say, someone like Kulisi was born in the Eastern Cape, so must he just not play? Who will pay his salary? Like if let's say he plays for the Kings, then the Sharks aren't going to pay for him to play for the Kings. But I mean, it would be nice eventually one day. But yeah, it's disappointing, and it would be nice to see someone do something exciting for the fans. It just seems to be, it's all about money, really. Um, but yeah, and to be fair, it's the same for the teams in the Pro 14. I mean, they're watching the same games again now. Leinster played Munster about 6 times this year. So that used to be a big rivalry, happens once or twice a year. And now it's nothing special anymore.
Exactly, yeah. And I guess, yes, sport is professional now. Those are kind of like pipe dreams.
Yeah.
But it would have been cool if they at least tried something different. But as you said, the level of rugby is increasing quite a bit. I was really impressed by the Stormers, especially in the first
20 minutes.
first quarter of that match. Mark, what are your thoughts about that game, Stormers against the Sharks?
Yeah, when I started watching the game, I thought it was going to be 100-0. I mean, we started like a house on fire, and it's nice to see some players performing. I thought Damien Willemse was good. I thought Herschel Jantjies was good. I love how Herschel Jantjies is always running those lines to score. It's exactly what a scrum half should be doing. Every time there's a half gap and someone makes a break, Herschel Jantjies is on their shoulder, and that's good. I think him and Faf, I think we're pretty sorted for nines. Yeah, and nice. The Stormers have got the whole Springbok front row, so it's always nice to see the boys roll out. And just disappointing that there was no consistency. We scored 6 points after that first 10, 15 minutes, and a lot of unanswered points. And you just wonder where did that come from. And also very disappointing, I must mention, to see Kate Wolliter get injured.
Mm.
I hope that's not too serious because I think he was playing well and he's so young. You don't
Yeah,
want to see him miss 9 months now, especially just before the Lions tour.
he's so good, eh?
Yeah,
He really impressed me in that game,
yeah,
and I really think the combination of him at 10 and Willemse at 15 is
yeah,
definitely the way to go. I've always preferred Willemse at 15, but
yeah.
I heard Cade has injured his ACL and he's out for the rest of the season.
That's
So
tough.
so
Unlucky.
that's really
Yeah,
unlucky. He could definitely be a Springbok 10 one day.
yeah.
So
But I
that's
think
very positive.
what you're saying about Willemse, I agree. I think Willemse very often tries to do a little bit too much because he's got all the skill, but at 10 he often wants to do something himself when sometimes you just need to pass. And at
Yes.
15 he's got a lot more. Often when he gets the ball, it's time to do something. Time to make a step or a kick. Whereas at fly half, often your job is to just release the players outside you. And I think he tries to take too much responsibility as a fly half to break the line himself. Whereas
Mm.
Wallace seemed very content to catch and pass, and sometimes that's all that's needed. So it'll be interesting to see now because Warwick Lance also injured, so we will probably start. Is Tim Swill fit? Because he'll
I don't
probably
know where
start.
he is. Yeah, he wasn't even on the bench. So
But what's the reserve fly off? Is that Abner van Reenen? He's been pretty impressive. So yeah, we're building some nice depth, but just feel sorry for Cade.
yeah, and as you said about like the distributor role of a fly half, Cade does that so well. He created one brilliant try yesterday by
Yeah,
distributing. So that's really unlucky for the Stormers. And the Stormers really played so well, but when they got that red card,
yeah,
it was very early on in the match, and that
yeah,
really damages morale. And then they got a yellow card, and then that guy got a yellow card again. So they had two players off. So I mean, the fact that it was only a 3 point difference at the end
yeah,
of the game is quite embarrassing for the Sharks because the
yeah.
Stormers really put in a good fight.
What do you think about this rule with when you get a red card, you can bring a player on after 20 minutes?
I think it's a cool rule. I think it's obviously something they're experimenting with because they don't want they don't want it to ruin a whole game. So
Yeah,
I really like it, and I think it could work. What do you think?
yeah, I think it's good. I guess it depends which team you support on the day because if it's a World Cup final and England get a red card, then of course, as a South African fan, we want them to stay off the whole game. But let's say if after Clark got a red card in the World Cup final, then we'd love to bring on Herschel Jantjies after 20 minutes. So I think it's nice. There's so many games that get ruined because of like an accidental poor clean out or like Sinatla it's a red card what he did, but it's accidental. He
Yes.
was running and so it's a red card, but there's no need to ruin the game. So I think that's a good rule. And also this captain's referral, we can chat about that because
Yes. Yeah.
I
But
think I think what do you think? Let's hear what you think, and then
well, but before I mention that, maybe what with the red card thing, maybe what they should do is they should introduce like a third card, a green card maybe,
yeah,
or like orange card. I don't know, something like
yeah,
that, pink card even.
yeah,
But so something between a yellow card and a red card, and
mm,
then maybe only red card for like something really bad, like punching someone or
yeah,
something completely deliberate. Because as you said with Sinatla, that was accidental, but it was also really dangerous. But you don't want it to ruin the whole game. So.
yeah,
Um, I thought it was quite nice in his case. But with the captain's referral thing, it's kind of similar to the
mm,
white card rule. I think it's cool. I don't see a problem with it. I think they only allowed one referral per game, so I think it's cool. Why not? Why not give it a try?
yeah,
It might actually it gives more power to the teams if they think
yeah,
they made a wrong call. So I quite like it.
mm. Yeah.
You?
I agree. I just think the problem comes when like let's say like the TMO should still be looking at everything himself, and there shouldn't have to be a captain's referral because the ref should pick everything up, the refereeing team. But I think in a case when they miss it, there's a lot of things that happen on the field that only the players realize. So it is good. I just think it's not an excuse now for, let's say, the TMO to stop checking things. But
Of course.
as a player myself, I think it's a good rule because sometimes you'll be in a ruck and you feel someone's shoulder in your head or little finger around your eye. And often the ref can't see it. The TMO is not going to look at every ruck. So yeah, it's a good idea. I like some of these new innovations, keeping the game fresh.
Yeah, it's kind of feeling like the Varsity Cup, experimenting with a whole bunch of things. Do you remember a few years ago when they tried the two refs on a field for the Varsity Cup? Do you remember that?
Yeah, like what? It was one in each half, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, something.
Yeah, it's like
I
hockey.
think no, I think there were just two refs all the time, just watching the rucks. It was interesting, but
Yeah,
yeah, I suppose it's maybe a bit of an overkill because
mm,
you've already got the
yeah,
linesmen, and the
yeah.
linesmen maybe just need to work on doing a better job. But that's a whole different discussion. So we spoke about the Stormers. They're looking really good. They were unlucky.
Mm.
Sharks, what did you think of their performance?
I think the Sharks back three is very exciting. They've got some brilliant wingers and fullbacks, and it's very dangerous every time they get the ball out wide. But to be honest, I was watching the game through a Stormers lens, so I'm not gonna. I mean, it's weird seeing Sia Kolisi running around in a Sharks jersey.
Mm.
That was a bit strange, but yeah, Sharks are missing some. I think quite a few hookers. Dylan Richardson is injured, and I think Donald Joost is injured. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think we got the beating of them up front, but their backline looks pretty exciting. The Kanye Arms playing well.
Yeah, and that lock did well, hey?
Yeah.
I think his name's Hugo, hey? Something like
I,
that.
I don't know. I don't know.
He
You asked
scored a
me
hat trick.
bad with
Couldn't
names.
a lock scoring a hat trick? I mean,
I can't believe it. I
that's
know.
like seeing a red moon. It's crazy. That's so rare.
But,
I was a lock and I never scored. I scored like one try a season if I was lucky. So
I I expect the unexpected with the Sharks these days. After that reserve prop scored that 60-meter try, so
yeah.
nothing even surprises me anymore. Yeah,
Mkunu, yeah, no, I think he was on the bench yesterday.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean the Sharks were lucky to win that, but they do have a strong team, and I thought it was actually a pretty exciting game as well in terms of, especially from the Stormers. There's a lot of offloads, creativity, but the Bulls game was a little bit rough and tough and
yeah,
not as exciting.
yeah. Well, I think that's what you expect from a North derby.
So
So,
Lions were looking pretty poor. It
yeah,
wasn't an easy game to watch. But the Bulls, Chris Smith had a good game, I think.
yeah.
Uh,
I
the,
think the Lions aren't great, but I think the Bulls are good, and you can only be as good as the opposition allows you to be. And the Bulls are starting to look like the Bulls of old. They're just physical grunt. Like if I was a player playing against the Bulls, I would not be looking forward to it. You're going to wake up on Sunday morning and you're going to be bruised. You're going to be sore. And yeah, Chris Smith is playing well, and they've still got Mornay staying on the bench. So they're building incredible depth with their signings.
yeah.
They've got probably two or three teams that could put out that would probably beat most teams. So yeah, I think the Bulls are strong contenders. Or I was going to say to win the Rainbow Cup, but now to win Curry Cup version 2.0.
Version 4.0.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think Mornay staying, he's probably not going to play for too much longer, maybe
no,
another year, maybe two max. But Johan Goosen's coming in, who I think will be a nice senior figure. I would not really like him to. I would not really like to see Johan Goosen going in front of Chris Smith because I think Chris Smith is a young player and we want to give him an opportunity. But who knows? I suppose they'll just swap them out, whoever is in form. And Marcel Coetzee, he's now at the Bulls. He didn't play yesterday, but he's at the Bulls now. He was released early on his contract. I think he's going to make big waves.
Well, Vermeulen's also at the Bulls and he's still injured. So they got Isam Carr and they've got incredible loose forwards. It's ridiculous. So yeah, the Bulls are building a pretty strong squad.
Did you see what I think it was the CEO of the Bulls said?
No.
I posted on my story the other day. He said a journalist or someone asked him, has it been? How has it been buying all these players? Something along those lines. And he basically said Jake thought a lot of players weren't good enough, and we replaced them with good players. So basically saying, because they got rid of a lot of
Yeah,
guys like Berger Odendahl and a few other guys,
yeah,
but really like so savage. Like we
yeah,
replaced them with decent
yeah,
players. They weren't decent.
yeah,
So
yeah.
savage.
But it's good to be honest. I mean, you don't want to be. It's not. It's nice. I always enjoy having a coach that tells you how it is.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in someone's team and you're sitting on the bench or you're not getting picked, and he won't tell you to your face that he just doesn't think you're very good. So I think it's good to be honest with players, and at least they know where they stand. And for those players that got released, it's actually not a bad thing because now they're getting regular game time at other unions. So
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
Anyway,
it's true. I mean, Berger Odendahl wouldn't have really been, he
yeah,
wouldn't have played much of a big role, probably. But with the Lions, Tian Swanepoel is looking really good at
yeah.
fullback. Um, I would, because Alton Yankees is now in France for a bit, but I think it's a short-term thing.
Really,
So
didn't
yeah,
even know
so
that.
yeah. So he's
Think.
there for a bit. That's why he didn't play. Fred Zeilinger played. I think Fred
Cool.
Zeilinger used to play for the Griquas, eh?
Yeah, Fred
Uh,
Zailing has been everywhere, but I don't think he's not top class really. He's just a
Nah,
average
yeah,
10.
he's just standing in. So
Yeah,
I thought Tian Swanepoel would have played at 10, but he
yeah,
played at 15. But
yeah,
yeah, anyway, I mean, the important thing is the guys are playing, and
yeah,
they a lot more match fit than they were in Super
yeah,
Rugby Unlocked, and I think we're becoming more and more ready for the
yeah.
Lions. But let's move on to the Varsity Cup and the Varsity Shield. Mark, are you missing playing in the Varsity Cup?
I am. I knew this would happen when I started. When you put it on Super Sport One and you see the boys run out playing rugby. I obviously miss it. And there's been some good games, some exciting rugby. Um, just a pity there's no crowds because that was always fierce at Varsity
Mm.
Cup when there's thousands of students having a good time. So yeah, I think I am missing it. But yeah, it's just nice to see that they've got it going. It's good that they've made a plan.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's talk about your team first, UWC.
Mm.
They've impressed quite a bit this year, in this year's Currie Cup. Eh? I think they've shown a lot of improvement. They're doing well.
Yeah, I don't want to single out my mates because I'm not going to be biased, but I think we've been very good, and I won't even say I'm surprised because this is what I expected. We're fronting up more in the forward pack than we have done, and that gives the foundation for our incredibly exciting back. We have backline players. I remember at practice playing touchies, and I might as well be at home having a coke on the couch because it's not even a game when you got these front rows playing against our fullback and our wingers. You're just chasing shadows, and they're so exciting, and they can score from anywhere. And with this Varsity Cup rule of the 7-point try, really suits our style of play. Because we
Mm,
conceded a couple more tries in some games, but we make those points back in 2 tries because we score from behind our own goalpost. So
mm,
yeah, we've been very good, and we're currently 6th on the table, and I'm very. It's a very good place to be because
absolutely.
we aren't a powerhouse university, but we're at the top of the bottom half of the table, which is we're pretty safe at the moment from relegation. We've got a big 3 games coming up in the next bubble. So yeah, I'm very proud supporter at the moment.
I think they played Shimla's last day. That was the most
Uh,
recent game. Shimla's.
UJ, we played UJ.
Was it, yes, sorry, UJ. But Shimla's have been quite a shock, eh? They haven't won a game
You know,
since.
the tide has turned in Bloemfontein, I think. Shimlers look like they could be relegation candidates, and CUT are pretty unstoppable. I mean, except for
CUT,
UCT.
eh?
Uh,
CUT, where the heck did they come from, eh?
yeah, well, I played against CUT last year, and we lost by 50 points, and I was pretty embarrassed because I thought that they were also quite a small university. And watching them this year, I realized now that maybe we weren't that bad, and they were just a very good team.
Yeah.
They've been incredibly impressive. Um, I don't know what's going on there. Why Shimlers are so poor and why CUT are so good. They're just across the road from each other. So I don't know if if the money man has decided to switch allegiance or what. But
Mm,
yeah, it's good to see. I like to see the different teams and competitive games.
Yeah, I see the old Bulls coach is at the Shimmers. Puerto
Yeah. Puerto Human.
Human. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So maybe that's why. No offense to him, but he hasn't had the
Yeah.
best run recently.
Yeah.
But so yeah, obviously CUT have been a big shock. They lost really badly to UCT recently,
Yeah.
which was a surprise. But UCT, they've been
Oh,
looking really, really good. At least one of the Cape Town sides is
yeah.
at the top, which is nice.
Yeah. UCT is they look incredibly impressive. They don't look like losing, to be honest. I think they look like winners. Maltese have been very underwhelming. You can't
Mm.
say disappointing because I'm not disappointed, but it's strange. I think this bubble has affected them because they rely a lot on some contracted Stormers players, and I think John Dobson doesn't want to let some players go for a whole week to the bubble, and he wants them training with the Stormers, and that obviously there's probably a couple of guys who can't play for Marties who would be able to play if they didn't have to go for 8-9 days to a bubble. And obviously, in Varsity Cup with the age limit, there's always going to be a turnover of teams. So you're never going to be able to build a squad for 10 years. It's going to be most players are there for 3, 4, 5 years max. And it seems like Maltese are in some sort of a rebuilding phase, and maybe UCT is in some sort of a peak because it's always been Maltese, UCT, UWC, in that order, and now UCT seems to be running away with it. So it's nice to see. It's nice to see Maltese play and other teams be competitive. It's I
Yeah.
hate when Maltese win 80-0 and yeah,
Yeah, and as you say, like a new generation of players, you can't have those guys studying BCom first year for 10 years.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
but yeah, Marty's definitely have been the biggest surprise in terms of
mm,
performance because they're normally the powerhouse, or they have been for the past 3 years, 3, 4 years. So that was a shock, but it's so nice that it's so competitive. The
yeah,
Varsity Cup is so competitive at the moment, and the table this year is completely different to what it was last year.
yeah.
And I think it's good for our sport. You don't want one team dominating the whole time.
I think it's brilliant. Uh, it's also good for the players because if you're a player for a smaller university and you play against Marties and you want to get scouted, you've got no chance because you don't see the ball when you play against Marties or the Marties of old. But now every game is competitive, so every game, every player has a chance to put their hand up, and yeah, I've enjoyed it. I think the standard of rugby in some games hasn't been great, but what is always good with the Varsity Cup is exciting tries because the youngsters like to throw the ball around, and you see people do things they wouldn't do if they were playing at a Super Rugby level, and I think that's great. People can express themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a a level of rugby, and
Yeah,
we've spoken about before how Varsity Cup really produces so many good players. And the Varsity Shield, that's also been going on for a while. There's been some good performances, some not so good performances. Have you watched much of the Varsity Shield?
I've tried. It's a bit painful some of the games. Some of the rugby has been shocking. I think it's DUT. Um,
Mm.
it's I think it's them. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but they've lost every game by almost 100 points or more than 100 points. They lost one game by 139-11 or something, and that was on SuperSport One. And it's a bit embarrassing, I think, to put that on SuperSport One. It's not a good look. Um,
Yeah.
and no offense to the players who are playing for that university, but that's not TV rugby, and I think it's not good for the team that they're playing against, and it's not good for them. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know why not have less universities of a higher standard, or even have three divisions
Mm.
where you have the really bad universities can battle it out, and yeah, but CPUT have been good, and that's also good as a Cape Townian. We've got
Yes.
four
Yeah.
good
Yeah. They
universities now.
They I've also seen a lot of talent coming out
Yeah,
of a lot of those games. A lot of skill. So, some of
yeah,
those, I don't know if you saw. I posted that one clip the other day of
yeah,
that guy. He did like a sidestep and a dummy
yeah.
kick at the same time. I don't know
Yeah,
how he did it, but no.
that
So it's still a good system, and I mean it's producing the players. So
that guy that he stepped, I went to. I played with him at Hamilton's and at Western Province Academy. He was the guy that got stepped. So when I saw you post that, I was like, oh shame, poor bloke. Poor bloke's gonna go viral. But he's actually that guy that got stepped, Nathan Kutu. He's actually playing very well for CPUT
Yeah,
and
he got man of the
scoring
match, I
loads
think.
of tries.
I think he
Yeah,
got man of the match for that game. But I mean,
yeah,
like, that's anyone would get stepped by that. I
yes.
mean, that was just a moment of brilliance by that player. But no, it's so good to see. And schoolboy rugby is back as well, which is so nice.
Yeah.
Grey College lost to Paul Jim, which was a pretty big moment.
Yeah.
But obviously, South African schoolboy rugby without the fans isn't the same. But it's still so good and so important to see the guys out there again.
I agree. I just hope we can keep rugby going, and that they can play the whole year now, and nothing gets cancelled because it's very important for their development to play rugby at this age. So, yeah, I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Mark, thanks so much for the chat. As always, man, it's always so cool chatting. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. As always, leave a comment, tell us your thoughts, send us DMs as you watch games. We always like to hear. And until then, we'll see you next time. And until then, Mark's beard will probably get longer. So I'm looking forward to that. I need to start growing a beard. I think I need to start.
I think I need to stop growing a beard. I need to get it trimmed for the next one.
Yeah, we need to match somehow. You either need to shave or I need to
a
grow.
little bit of both.
Yeah.